the small strikes. Okay, so we learn big strikes like bam, 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 right? Now, and then I presume you strike with fumikomiashi, pop, like that. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, please watch the past videos. Okay, whatever I talk about here, it's everything, almost everything is on this Kendo Guide YouTube channel. Okay, now I have a link or links prepared in description area, okay, for you to watch later, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, now small strike is big. Strike is big. Let's say we are striking men, right? Have your hands above your head and you go strike man, pop, man strike. Now, before we move on to the detail, this is actually a question from a good friend Sean to Kendo Clinic. Now, Kendo Clinic is something I and Blake Bennett are doing at the moment at Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so if you don't know what it is, go to just search Kendo Clinic on Facebook or YouTube channel. Okay, so you're gonna find it. We are talking about coaching, but also, of course, I do Kendo Guide. So I am helping people with some technical things. Now, because this is a little bit more technical and I've done some videos in the past about small strikes, I want to go over it here. Okay, and also we can talk about it. Of course, Blake has different perspectives, so we can talk about it at Kendo Clinic too. I don't know when, but we can do that too. Right, but let me go over it, okay? Now, big main strike from here, right? Big main strike. Now, small main strike is like that. Now, what's the difference? Difference is big and small, right? Now, if you watch the video, there's a link in the description area. Actually, I timed main strike. Okay, big strike from here, yeah, bang, right? I timed it. And from here, small strike, yeah, bang, right? Which one is faster? Of course, small strike is faster. All right, it's easy, right? Why do we have to strike small? Because it's faster. Okay, so if it's compact, it's more likely for us to strike our target. That's why it becomes smaller and smaller. Now the question is, how small can it be, or should it be? Okay, Kendo. Okay, Kendo has blade. Now we do Kendo following the principle of the katana, but this is not the katana, so we don't go like that. Okay, and if we do that, we're gonna hurt our training partner. Okay, one big difference between katana and shinai, bamboo sword, is you can't cut through, right? Katana is made to cut through, cut through. This is not. So from here, you just try to cut a little bit. Okay, feel it's not tap. You don't tap, all right? You strike. Okay, that's the difference, all right? So you have to remember that. If you whack people, now you know the result. It's gonna hurt. Now, if other people whack you, you're not gonna be happy. Now, there are some styles. Actually, there is a style like that, but that's not what I do. Okay, so I am showing what I do, which is following All Japan or International Kendo Federation Kendo. Okay, so from here, now because the difference here, up here, you have to bring your hands above your head and bring it down. So of course it takes longer than pop, like that, right? Now if you see I do this, pop, is it still big? It's smaller than big strike, right? And smaller strikes are applied techniques. This is the basic strike. Okay, once you learn this, okay, basic strikes are good, so you can, when you do it big, you have to use entire body all together. You can integrate all the muscles together, right? But it's totally different from this motion and this motion, right? So you have to learn separately, all right? In the old days, we used to, we were told, if you can strike big, you can strike small. That was true to us because we trained almost every day, over 2 hours every day, right? And we have a bunch of sensei around, and we have a bunch of people doing kendo around. So it's easy for kids to learn small strikes naturally. But I remember my father, who started kendo when he was 55. Even though he started kendo at the same dojo I started kendo, he couldn't do smaller main strike. Why is that? Right, because no one taught him. And he is he doesn't have bunch of time, years. He couldn't practice every day for 2 hours, right? And he's not surrounded by same age group. Maybe he is, but they are all already 6th dan, 7th dan, 8th dan, right? Around his age. So it's a bit different. He had to learn. What he was doing is he was doing small version of big main strike. Yeah, like that. You know what? His main strike was very strong. I was doing kendo longer than him. I hated how he struck men, because he doesn't have this greed that, oh, I really want to strike you. I'm gonna go for you. I'm not gonna let you strike me, but I'm gonna strike you. He doesn't have that ego. He doesn't have that greed. All he was doing was, he was just doing, just striking, just focusing on one strike. That's why he was so strong. His main strike was so strong. I can hit it. I could hit him, but the main strike was, I didn't like it at all. So even if you started kendo when you were in your 50s, you can strike men like that, all right? And you just focus on yourself. You focus on nice and straight men, all right? And you can strike like that. Now, so smaller version of big main strike is small main strike, okay? And it's faster. It's not because you use all the muscles. Simply, you don't have to bring hands up, all right? So if you don't bring your hands up, all right, here, so all the your right foot, if you have your hands above your head, you strike man, you have to keep your right foot longer until your hands come down, right? But when you strike small man, it comes down really quickly, so your right foot has to go down quickly. Now, this you need coordination, all right? So, for however you strike man, small man strike, right? Basically, you just go use your wrist and elbow, right? You don't have to use your shoulders like when you strike man. Okay, from here go, okay? You have to learn this. It's not like this. This is big no-no. Okay, you don't. It takes longer too. All right. So it is easier if you do it a little bit like this, like that. See, you can see. You don't use your. This is another way. I'm going to just share it with you just a little bit. Another way. You don't. Good or bad, correct or wrong aside. Okay, there's this way to strike me. You don't move your right hand much, but you move your left hand. So your kensaki comes up, right? The tip of the sword comes up. That's normal, right? That's physics. Goes like this, right? And that's faster. Now, as you can see, if you bring it up and down really quickly, you have to have this motion quick too. Okay, so first, get used to this idea of smaller strike. Tongue, 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 right? Tongue, tongue, tongue. This is my man height. After you probably go, man, strike me like this. Shoot up, tongue, tongue, right? As long as your kensaki goes above your opponent's head, you can strike. Okay? Like that, right? So all you have to do is that. Okay? And then now practice this. Okay? This. Practice this. Now you don't want to stay where you are at, where you are. Alright, you don't want to stay where you are because your opponent is forward. Right? There, not here. So you go pong, pong, you go pong, pong. From here, make sure, and small, but you have to have sharpness, and you have to have certain amount of power in it too. You know, like I said, if it's just tap, it's not really valid. What does it mean valid in Kendo? Cutting. So is it strong enough to just a little cut through? Like I said, if you whack like that, that's violent. You know, you can seriously hurt your opponent. So that's really different. Strike, so you're gonna hurt your opponent, is totally it's not totally what we want to do. What we want to do is we strike, and striking is a proof that whatever you did beforehand is right. So you have correct mindset, yeah, and you're gonna seek your opponent's opening, right? Okay, where's the opening? Okay, you don't have opening, I'm gonna make an opening. Come on. Open my target. Where is it? Is it Kotewa, man? What is it? What is it? Come on, are you gonna strike me? Okay, what are you gonna do? So that part is more Kendo. Striking part is kind of proof that you did good Kendo, right? So I know a lot of people like striking part, but if you focus on striking part, you lose this fun part of Kendo, which is mind game. You know, so yeah. Okay, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Okay, if you do this, if I do this, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Pa, pa, pa. You know, shinai, play with the shinai, and what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Right, so that's what you want to do in Kendo. Okay, so smaller strikes help. You know, it's a variation of your strikes. So of course you can strike men like that, no problems. But if it's big all the time, your opponents go, okay, you're striking me. Okay, you're striking me. It's easy, right? So if you have fast man strike and big man strike, slow man strike because you've been fast at the first match and the first half of the match. So okay, all of a sudden you just go slow strike, and your opponent goes, huh? and then you can get it. You know, it's like mind game. Okay, so if you this part is fun in Kendo, and of course Kendo is to develop your human, you know, characteristics, right? You're working on your own improvement. So if you trick all the time, it's not really good, because you want to fight fair and square, and then from here, okay, nice and relaxed. Okay, you strike fast sometimes, and you strike slow, like that, right? So that is very important in your life too. If you just talk to your friend, or if you, let's say, if you talk to your wife, you talk to your kids, if you say the same thing over and over and over with the same rhythm and same direction, and they might not understand what you're saying. Maybe this way. What about how I say the same thing but different way? Or let's say, you know, let's talk about something else first and then talk about the core stuff. So there are many ways to grab your opponent's mind, right? I'm not talking about sales technique, but it's very similar, right? I'm not talking about trick your opponent. I'm talking about there are many ways to accomplish your strike, right? It's one thing I have to mention is what we want to do is, you know, put pressure, and your opponent goes like that, and you go. That is the perfect main strike everyone wants to strike, but it's hard to do. So we have to learn a lot of those techniques, all right, and then strike. So you can pass your knowledge, your technique onto other next generations, and then Kendo will stay like that. All right, so now really important part of Kendo is nice and straight. Okay, nice and straight is always the Kendo. Okay, the main path of Kendo, straight. All right, and you strike, don't tap. You're not going to tap. Yeah, tap. All right, so that is the important part. But what I'm talking about here is how to practice. Okay, first you have to know when you want to stop your shinai. Right here, it's good enough, right? It's hot. It's way above your opponent's head, right? Tom. This is very important, right? First, muscle memory. First, you have to know how you should be striking, and then ask your Kendo mate, can you please receive my main strike or whatever kote strike? Yeah. How did it feel like? Do you think it is good enough? Was it sharp enough? How did you feel? Was it too strong? Does it just give you pain? Well, how did you feel it? You know, is it different? How was it different from sensei's strike? Now that's how you have to improve your strike. You have to ask your partner, otherwise you don't improve. Your partner is the only person who knows what it felt like. You can't tell because you're not hitting yourself. All right, so that's very important. Now, I hope this helps. All right, so now remember, when you do small, everyone goes, okay, I'm gonna do small, tense up. All right, you gotta relax, jab. You know, you have to learn how to relax, pum 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 pum, and then counter punch or whatever. You know, knockout punch. Right, you have to relax. Yeah. Right, so now of course everyone has different point of view, so that is my point of view. So I hope this helps you to improve your Kendo.